Hello, my name is Justin Whitcomb, and I am the lead pastor of Veritas Bible Church. And I just want to thank you for continuing along with us in our video series on biblical theology. In this class, we are going to be discussing what is called the First Redemptive Revelation. And so the class outcomes or video outcomes for this video are to discuss the revelation found in the curses of the garden. But before going further, it's best to recap what we covered in the last video. In the last video, we took a look at God's disclosure in the pre-redemptive revelation. So this is God's special revelation that takes place between creation and the fall. And what we saw here is that God's special revelation consisted of seeing the tree of life, which revealed to us that life comes in its fullness from God, the tree of good and evil, that good and evil are learned experientially, the serpent, that temptation presents God's instruction as unfriendly and harmful to his creation, and that death is a return to primitive matter. And so before we continue our examination or begin our examination of the first redemptive revelation, we are going to take a look at Genesis 3, 8 through 19, as this is going to serve as the basis for our examination. The text says, "And they heard the sound of the Lord walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord among the trees of the garden. But the Lord God called the man and said to him, 'Where are you?' And he said, 'I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself.' He said, 'Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree of which I commanded you not to eat?' The man said, 'The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me fruit of the tree, and I ate.' Then the Lord God said to the woman, 'What is this that you have done?' The woman said, 'The serpent deceived me, and I ate.' The Lord God said to the serpent, 'Because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and above all beasts of the field. On your belly you shall go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring, and he shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel.' To the woman he said, 'I will surely multiply your pain in childbearing. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you.' And, and to Adam he said, 'Because you have listened to the voice of your wife, have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In pain you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread, till you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken. For you are dust, and to dust you shall return.'" And so, as we look at the curses that are bestowed upon the serpent, the woman, and the man, I want to consider a thought from Dr. Voss. He says that as we consider the sequence, this giving of curses, we see both God's justice and grace being directed toward man. This is why we can call this the first redemptive revelation, even though the term redemption isn't present within the text. So the first thing we need to notice is that the curses flow in the order of the sin committed. The order goes serpent, woman, man. However, as we consider the great themes that Dr. Voss notes that are present, justice and grace, particularly as it is directed toward man, we see grace precedes judgment. The first curse is concerned with the serpent. We see justice against the serpent, but grace for mankind. What is first revealed to us is God's divine initiative in the work of deliverance. Draw your attention to the first three words here, "I will put." What is God putting between them? He's putting enmity. We can define enmity as the state of feeling of being active, the state or feeling of being actively opposed or hostile to someone or something. God is both divinely promising and sovereignly placing hostility between these two groups, the woman and her offspring, and the serpent and his offspring. It is it isn't going to happen accidentally. God in his power is establishing it. We also see that deliverance results due to a shift of mindset toward the serpent and God. Following the divine establishment of hostility between the seed of man and the seed of Satan, there is a reversal in allegiance. You see, in the fall, mankind chose to listen to the lies of Satan, thus siding with him, pledging their allegiance by action to him. The act of eating from the tree said that Satan is for us and God is against us. However, in the curse that is given here against the serpent, God is reversing that. Through his divine intercession in establishing hostility between these two parties, God is now reclaiming his people from the enemy. We also see the continued work of deliverance is declared. Again, emphasizing that he shall bruise your head and you shall bruise his heel. We see further implications. What is further revealed is that not only will there be hostility, not only will God reclaim his faithless people, but he will accomplish continued deliverance from the realm of darkness. The usage of the term offspring is revealing. It shows us that Satan has offspring, not through physical reproduction, but through the spreading of his nature. It is this offspring that wages war against the offspring of the woman. However, God promises that there will be an ultimate culmination of this deliverance. We also see God's judgment of man serves as the great background for redemption. The previous verses give a great hope. The exact form in which deliverance will occur may not be crystal clear. However, mankind has received divine assurance that they will receive it. The listed here show that the simplest elements of life speak out to the brokenness of this now fallen world. It is from this that the cry for redemption and restoration comes forth. Romans 8:22 through 23 says, "For we know that the whole creation has been groaning together in the pains of childbirth until now, and not only the creation, but we ourselves, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for adoption as sons, the redemption of our bodies." The first breaths of redemption are breathed in this first redemptive revelation, only for them to grow rapidly as revelation is continued. Thank you for joining us for another video in our series. I hope you join us for our next video in the series as we cover the pre and post-diluvian revelation. God bless.